Hi, my name is Carrie. You might know me as K Warning or from my shop 8-Bit Stitch. Today I want to talk to you more in depth about parking and cross country. So I'll start by the definitions of the two. If you've seen my terms to know videos, you might already know this. Parking is the process of saving your thread in the next section in which you are going to use it after you're done with it in the section you're currently working in. This is a nice little trick to use to kind of move your thread onto the next portion of a large piece while not having to finish off the thread and having it kind of out of the way for yourself. Cross country is when you choose one color and work on that color throughout the entire piece, completing that color before moving on to the next one. Now, what I do personally is a combination of the two. So I'll choose a section to work on. It's usually a 10 by 10 square or a 10 stitch wide column. I like to work down usually, and I'll choose one color of that column. I will stitch it down completely until I am done with that color and then park it in the next column, ready to stitch when I have moved on to that column. I'll then go on to the next color of the first column, finish that out completely, and park that in the next column. So it creates kind of this confetti at first that finishes over time before moving on to the next column. Now, something I really want to recommend to you guys is a program called PDF Max. This program has been a lifesaver to me. I use it on my Kindle Fire because I'm old school, but it does work on iPads if you have that. And it's a program where you can upload your PDF pattern into the program and then mark off your pattern as you're finishing. I typically will mark off my symbols in red as I finish them, and then when I park them in a new space, I'll choose a secondary color like blue. That way when I'm looking at my piece and seeing all of these threads coming out of them, I can look at my pattern, see those blue sections, and know exactly which color I have saved in that section. Something else to keep in mind while you're parking is to choose a hole in your square that is always going to be the hole that you park in. I always park my threads in the top right-hand corner of each square. Again, this makes it easy for you when you see a thread coming out of your Aida to go, what color is that? Reference your pattern. See that there is a section with the top right-hand hole marked in blue, so you can say, that is that color, and now I'm ready to work with it. It's really all about this organization so that you don't get yourself confused on which color is which. Other accessories that I highly recommend using while doing cross-country or parking will be a needle minder and thread tidies. Thread tidies are really helpful when you're doing the parking method so that you can keep your threads out of the way for yourself. And needle minders are great if you've happened to master the practice of having multiple threads needled at one time. I have not mastered this technique yet, but it is an interesting concept to me to be able to just pick up a needle that already has a color on it and stitch it, leave it on that needle, and then move on to another color that's also already on a needle. I have seen other people do this. It seems super helpful. I keep getting myself kind of tangled with it, so I haven't really moved on to doing that regularly. I think that maybe that would be an easier practice if I was using fewer threads. Okay, so you can see here that this is the piece that I am currently doing cross country and parking on. So with this one, I am doing a little bit of a combination of extreme cross country and regular cross country. So I started by doing extreme on these last 5 pages and finished the stitches all the way through. I've now switched over to do regular cross country, which is just finishing one color on one of the pages. One of the pages for this pattern is 5 columns. You can see my pre-gridded Aida here. You can see the little boxes. These are part of the Aida, so they will be stitched over. This is a all coverage piece, so I don't need to pull out the threads or wash them because my stitches will completely cover these boxes. So I'm picking one color at a time, stitching it through one page, and then parking it. And you can see the threads here are parked. And if I come a little closer, you can see that they are all parked in the upper right-hand corner of the square. So when I go to my pattern, I can check for which square is marked blue and know that that is the upper right-hand corner of that thread. I believe this is W, just from looking at the color. So I can look at my pattern, find W, and see where I left off to do the next page. And that's really it, guys. It's not so hard once you jump right into it. Keep your sections small. If you want to start on like 10 by 10 squares before moving on to the next 10 by 10 square, that's kind of how I started. Just doing very small sections at a time. Both of these methods are great on pre-gridded Ada to help yourself with the counting, especially in cross country when you're kind of moving from section to section pretty quickly. So those are my main tips. Pre-grid your Ada, have a thread tidy available for yourself, have some needle minders for organization, and hands down, use a program where you can mark off what you have already stitched and where you have parked. I hope you found this video helpful. If so, hit the like button and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video, and until then, happy stitching. What do you think? Birds are more interesting.